Hello, I'm Carolyn Holzman, and this is Confessions of an SEO. These episodes are short and with a fair amount of tough love to the SEO industry. And as a quick reminder, this podcast started out initially as love letters to the SEO industry, to SEOs and those that they serve. Today is no exception. Welcome to episode 34 of Confessions of an SEO in 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, today is a day of import. As of this morning, September 10th, I have completed the first 3 years of the indexation research. See how I did that? I even had a cake made for the occasion. I will endeavor to get a picture of it on LinkedIn. So if you haven't gotten your account banned on LinkedIn, come on over and say hi. Tomorrow starts year 4 of the crawl or no crawl indexation research project. And I'm also pleased to report that even more progress has been made on the indexer between last week and this week. And no small effort. I mean, this has been years in the making. I have named it, but until I file for trademark, you'll just have to wait. And while you wait, the alpha release will be to those who are in the crawl or no crawl group on Substack. So even if you have a free account, you'll get the first wave of access. So if you want to get all the latest hot off the presses indexation gold, you can sign up. It's $18 a month, or you can just get a free account. You'll hear from me from time to time. And you can also find it if you search for crawl or no crawl on Substack, and get in there before I do the cutoff date on that. Ha 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 ha. Now, if you missed this last week, or if you haven't checked it out before, I found out something really cool about Wix. The Wix SEO team provides a bot report that will show you the Google bot crawls on your particular site if you're using Wix. Now, I've been talking a long time about server logs, and frankly, a lot of site builders have let me down on this, but not Wix. I've been in touch, and I've had some good discussions about a feature that I wanted to recommend to have on that, sending that over to their technical team. But based on what I have seen so far, they offer what I would also say is the best-in-class SEO defaults. So I'm going to be adding Wix into the indexation rotation. And I hope you'll take a look at Wix Studio to see more for yourself. All right, today's topic came to me. I pushed it back. It circled back. And I pushed it off again. And well, it happened a few more times. And then because of, I guess, really some of the values that I stand for, it started to feel disingenuous on my part to keep pushing it back just because it was uncomfortable. And you know what they say, nothing changes if nothing changes. So I'm not going to name names, but it is my hope that if someone hears me describe their experience, nothing would bring me more satisfaction than helping you by providing you some detailed data of your situation, just an idea here, spitballing, for the purpose of helping you get out of your contract. Now, I feel like that guy on the radio that says, I'll help you get out of your timeshare commitment, but maybe that's what's required. Nothing makes me madder, more frustrated than arrogant agencies that take advantage of the ambition and desperation of local businesses, and they do so through excellent presentation skills and slick manners. But not all that is backed up. They're providing, in a way, something that is demonstrably clueless when it comes to SEO principles. It's the SEO equivalent of, you just can't get there from here. Now, like I said, it is frustration because what they do reflects poorly on our industry. And if we as smaller agencies or independent SEOs try to call out these agencies, it kind of looks like sour grapes or whining. And really, I think all we do is hurt ourselves. I'm going to tell it like a little story, and I'll fill you in why it pisses me off. There was this local business so deep into their investment into a franchise that they bought that their stock. They became so desperate, they reached out to a mutual contact, which referred them, and that is how I became aware of the situation. They expressed frustration, but really, they just want to do their business. They really just need more leads without having to constantly keep paying more. Now, in particular, in their situation, there are some restrictions. As many of you probably know, there are ways to help businesses that won't, short circuit the other work done by an agency. They weren't after really asking me like, why isn't this working? It was more of a, given this situation, can you help us? Is there anything that you can do to help us? Of course, I can. Or so I thought. I've had some franchise SEO experience, and I'm familiar with the typical cast of characters. So I looked at their GBP or the GMB, depending on if you're new to SEO, you've been around for a while, you know what I'm talking about. That is the local listing. And I also looked at the corresponding page for that location on the corporate site. With my experience, I kind of know what type of page that link on the local listing needs to be. It's easy enough to find. And I notice, I'm going to give you an illustration, okay? This is the page when you put that link in that GBP. This is the page that's supposed to help Google make the connection for that location. So let's go with Pittsburgh. Let's say it was Pittsburgh was the territory. The business location is in a city called Wilkinsburg, which is 7 miles outside, I should say 7 miles, give or take, outside of Pittsburgh. And the page that's supposed to clearly designate the actual location that's listed in the GBP has the city and state in the URL. I grab that page, and when I do this is supposed to be Wilkinsburg, it forwards over to a page that now its topic is the Pittsburgh metro area. First thing I know from experience, there's so much wrong about this, or let me just say there is not a lot of good to the end goal. I'm going to set aside my bias, all right? So I'm pushing that over. So then I go and I check the Wilkesburg page. Now, mind you, this is just for illustration. I'm not naming the business, nor the agency, nor any location that they share. So going to the Wilkinsburg page, I find out it really doesn't exist. In fact, it's literally unknown to SEMrush. Not a clue in the data. I even put it in the where goes thing and saw that, it just redirects, regular 301 over to this metro area page. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe they know something I don't. Let's check the page where we landed. Is there anything in there? SEMrush knows a little something about this more general geographic page. So I find search terms that it ranks for. So I exclude all the terms that include the brand name, right? Because we're trying to find from a discovery, can people who don't know this brand find them by what they do? So when I exclude the brand names, we're down now like 50% on the search terms. So looking through those, except for one general term, which could apply to a lot of things, but not a specific service, I found that one was on page 2. The remaining terms were equally vague, and they were also not related to actual services, and they were living somewhere between page 4 and 6. It is possible that things can suck organically and be rocking in the maps. I'm holding out hope that maybe that's the case. So let's go check. Using a couple of different Google Map trackers, I confirmed that for 3 of the major service queries for a couple of these brands, in none of these reports did any of these trackers find the business ranking in their own damn parking lot, much less further out. Now, for any that might not know, I'm speaking about tools that are available now that search for a service and they're looking for the business that you're testing for. They do that search from various longitude and latitude points around a business address. The business is in the center, and they search around the business address to ascertain where that business listing appears in the local maps. Now, only the ones that are 1, 2, or 3 from any of these points, only those are going to show up on the first page of Google in that little map block. If you've searched for something local, you've seen it. That's probably where you ended up clicking most of the time. Now, in the olden days, there were 10, and then it was reduced to 7, and then we were down to 3. And memory serves, I think that was the cycle. I've slept a few times since I got into SEO. All of this information now brought me back to the initial conversation with the people who had asked for help. Because if you recall, there are limitations as to what can be changed without interfering with the SEO agents of record for the work. So even knowing what had to be done, nothing could be changed on the Google business profile and nothing on the site. Frankly, if I wanted to construct the most unhelpful of local strategies, I would be hard-pressed to find one so complicated and so useless at the same time. I also wanted to speak plainly about this, which is why I won't mention names. I can only surmise that someone, likely not an SEO, approved of this strategy. It's almost as if a web dev was left alone in the room unsupervised on a deadline. And while they may be excellent at programming and debugging and hitting a button to create 12 pages instantaneously, they are not SEOs. Just because it can be done doesn't mean it works. Now, it's not an exaggeration to tell these people who are looking for a solution. It's probable that they may not be able to get there from here. They're going to be on a steady diet of paid ad lead generation for the foreseeable future. And I have seen this before at an old agency, which I also worked with franchises. These were sold to people who are not SEOs by other people who are not SEOs that the business, could have let me just give you an example, could have a business address in Katy, Texas, and rank number 1 in the center of Houston. If you don't know, Katy is almost 30 miles away from the center of Houston. Houston is only the 4th largest city in the U.S. Typically, franchises are going after some of the most competitive services, and they have a lot of competition. So Google doesn't need to go that far out to find someone who can provide what someone is looking for. Because it's not like everybody that can rank from outside of Dallas into the heart of Houston. But there is somebody who was able to do that for the search forensic audio expert Houston. Ask me how long it took for me to find that search query. Okay. There's somebody from everywhere in Texas in there, Tomball, Conroe. So if you're in the right niche, it's possible. You can make things like that happen that just may not be possible in other niches, and at least not quickly. So it doesn't sit well with me. And I suspect a lot of us, when we see these very high name recognized SEO agencies hurt their clients, or at the very least not help them and charge them for the privilege. I know you've heard that before, and my guess is that you think the story is probably about some SEO agency you've never heard of, but maybe also you wouldn't be surprised to find out, just how high profile these agencies are. So what's the moral of the story? Maybe if you're looking for a franchise, treat it like you're buying a house. If it were a house, because you're going to be investing in it, you might want to get a home inspection. And in this case, you're buying a franchise. This is going to be, at least part of it, your digital home, not just your brick and mortar business, but there's a digital aspect to it. And ultimately, sorry to say, you don't get a lot of say in the things that have a huge impact on your profitability. So get someone who knows SEO, not just websites, but let's say a high-end SEO to prepare for you an inspection of the current SEO strategy. and prepare you with the types of questions you will want and need to know before laying down your dollars. That's it for me this week. If you need help with your site and you're not sure where to dig, I'll give you my text number. My specialty is forensic SEO, figuring things out like what's wrong, how do we fix it? And to stay on the cutting edge of the state of indexing, as well as receive first access to the indexer when it's ready for company, check out Crawl or No Crawl on Substack. Thank you for being a listener. If you have questions or topic ideas, or you just need to reach out, I totally want to hear from you. You can text confessions at 512-222-3132. Thanks again, and until next week, I'll see you in the SERPs.